What do you think stops people from building their personal brand?
Fear. Like, what are people going to think of me? Will I look like a plonker? Will I look cringy? I've got this expertise, but have I got this expertise? Am I good enough? Am I not? So all of this kind of fear-based stuff.
That fear of putting yourself out there, I think, comes from a place of, I don't think I can, or I don't think I should, or why do people want to see me or more of me? Which again, when we come back to framing, the purpose of getting visual content and being more visible out there is to reach people for your business. It's not about you, it's about how you come across for your business, isn't it?
Welcome to episode 36 of the Marketing Blabs podcast. I'm your host for today's Blab, Tom Haslam, and today we're diving into a topic that every business owner, founder, and marketer should be thinking about right now. How do you actually increase your visibility online with personal branding? With algorithms changing, competition growing, and attention span shrinking, it's not enough to just post more. Visibility today means strategy. To unpack this with me, I'm joined by a brilliant mix of people with different perspectives. Our CEO, Matt Janaway, our client success manager, Kaz Grant, and today we also have a guest with us, photographer and personal brand expert, Toby Lee, aka Headshot Toby. Between us, we cover paid media advertising, organic search strategy, personal branding, creative direction, and high impact imagery. So let's get into it. How are we all doing, everyone?
Good.
Good,
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
You're welcome. What you been on with today, Toby? Anything exciting?
Yeah, I've been at an event this morning. I was presenting my 3 ways to feel confident in front of camera. So that might come in handy this afternoon.
Ooh. How do you feel confident in front of camera, Kaz?
Maybe she's born with it.
You're just born with
Just
it.
born with
You
it.
are quality, to be fair.
Oh, thanks.
One take Kaz.
One take Kaz. Well, I feel like it's passing on now, isn't it?
Yeah.
One take Tom.
Oh yeah.
That's not normal for me, though.
First
I
time ever.
I know.
Wow.
I'd not normally get straight into it. I normally fuck up a couple of times. But we're in.
Couple.
To be fair, when
There's-
me and Kaz do our podcast, we have lots of moments we cut out.
Yeah.
And when you started then and went straight in, I was like, is this all going to be one take? Are we not allowed to? I should have asked the question beforehand.
I gave myself little breaks. I felt out of breath after running upstairs to get the SD card. Sorry, Shaz, I always forget them. But we're here now, and my first question is going to be for you, Matt.
Okay.
So, why do you think visibility has become such a business critical metric in 2026?
Well, it's hard to unpack that, isn't it, quickly, because there's a lot that goes into this. I think user behaviors are certainly one thing that's changed over a period of time, which I think has caused people to realize more and more that consumers buy from faces and people. Of course, they buy from corporates and businesses, but they like to see a face. So I think that's the first change. That's been happening for quite a long time, but I think it's continually accelerating. Probably thanks to platforms like TikTok and Reels on Instagram, things like that. People like to see a face behind businesses. Adds a lot of trust. I think they can get to know them and understand what they're about a bit easier. So I think that's the first thing. But what's happened is that's caused saturation. So it's now, I think, more important than ever that businesses really put a face behind who they are. People engage with that so much more than they would engage with just business spiel.
Business spiel.
Yeah.
No one wants business spiel on LinkedIn, do they really?
No.
Connecting with
Boring, isn't
people.
it?
Yeah.
It's boring.
So obviously, quite an important one for us to announce is we've recently acquired Quirk. Obviously, exciting to strengthen the personal branding offering here at Marketing Labs. But from your perspective, Kaz, why does personal branding matter more than ever right now?
I think it's definitely in alignment with what Matt was saying. And I think people online, we've got so much hitting us every single day and so much targeted things. We have kind of got this sales resistance up in front of us sometimes, and we can just kind of glaze over when we see these corporate graphics now. And I think sometimes when you see another human, there's that connection element, and you connect, you're interested in them, you want to dive deeper into what they're saying. So if it comes from another human, there's that very real connection piece of it. You're not being sold to. You want to watch them because you're interested in them and you want to know what they're doing. You want to support them. And I think that kind of breaks it down. I think there's a stat out there at the moment that on LinkedIn especially, personal brands get a 560% more engagement than business brands. And it's not having a business brand. Have all of it, but if you're just posting on your business brand, then you're missing a huge opportunity by not posting on yours. And I need to put the caveat in there, not reposting your corporate graphics from your brand page to your page. People are following you because they want to see you. So sharing it in your kind of way. I've been sharing posts this since joining Marketing Labs, haven't I, over these last couple of weeks, sharing like the faces behind Marketing Labs. Who are they? What do they do? And it's quite engaging for people and it's quite fun and it's nicer to read. It's nicer to share. It just gets it across a bit more authentically, I think.
Yeah, I've got a bone to pick with you with that. You outed me and Josh.
I did. Well,
Not many people are meant to know about that bromance.
You're not very subtle with it, though.
Yeah, but we're in a enclosed environment now. Everyone knows.
No, it's like Vegas. What happens on LinkedIn goes on LinkedIn. What happens in the office goes in LinkedIn.
I think that's a good point. It's about people, isn't it?
Yeah, and but it's about people, but also when you follow someone's story, you feel a connection with them that you can't feel for a brand. You can get certain feelings from a brand, but they're different feelings. You almost feel like you become friends with somebody, even though you might not necessarily engage with them in a normal conversation. You feel like you know them. And I think that connection is difficult to replace for a brand.
I think I'd add to that as well. It's interpretation is the human part of it. So whatever your brand messaging is, how are you going to communicate that to your audience in a way that matters? And I think that's why user-generated content has become so massive, and we're seeing so many people. Like, I don't. My feed at the moment is all supplements at the moment because I've just done a marathon, so I'm constantly getting hounded with all these people popping up, going, I was really struggling with running until I tried these hydration sachets, and it's giving the effect that it's a real person telling you. But the reason they're doing it is because they're telling you about their individual experience of using that product, and that's what's making me go, I might even consider giving that a go, because I resonate with their interpretation of it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's much more powerful that way. Isn't it? Much more powerful.
It's less about selling then in that approach.
Yeah,
I think it's not the brand or the business selling that, it's via a person, which I think is important. Got a question for you though, Toby.
Cool.
When someone wants to increase the visibility, how important do you feel professional imagery is as part of that?
Well, obviously, as a photographer, I'm going to say very important.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm not one of those people who will preach you've got to do it this way and have professional photos. There are, I'd say, use the resources that are available to you because there are different purposes for those resources. So, yes, you can look at generating images with AI. Yes, you can look at creating as much content as you can yourself with phones and things like that, and that will get you so far. But it'll only get you as far as you're wanting to share your brand to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The more you can level up that professional quality, the more people are going to take you seriously. And the advantage of a professional photographer, or certainly the work I do, it's not about giving you something that you're going to look at and go, wow, yeah, a professional's certainly taken that because it's been taken on a nice camera. Actually, it's about the whole aesthetic of the image, but also the personality and the message that's coming through from you. I'm helping you in front of the camera to be who you are, essentially. I'm helping direct and guide you so that when you see those photos, you resonate and identify as that is a picture of me on my best day. It's not me trying to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
And I think trying to keep up with every influencer you see and some of the amazing visuals that we are just see on a daily basis whenever we get our phones out, it's difficult to compete with. But you've got to think, what's my individual contribution to this?
How do you? I always find it hard, especially creative directing photo shoots and stuff. Not everyone's as confident as Kaz in front of a camera, just as an example. How do you get them to feel relaxed when you're taking their photos? Because I find that quite tough, to be fair. That's a big challenge.
Yeah, a lot of it is conversation. A lot of it is, but you get somebody talking about what they're passionate about, and you lose them. Do you know what I mean? They come alive, and their hand gestures that are suddenly out of their pockets. You know,
Yeah.
they're not shrinking anymore. They have enthusiasm, and they start engaging more. So, actually, just asking people sometimes, you know, how did you get into this?
Mm.
And just get them talking. And they will then find a position that actually looks comfortable to be photographed in, feels real, is authentic, and actually comes through. And a lot of the shots that are my favourite photos I've taken in recent times are those in between moments where, you know, somebody said something that's really funny, or they've just felt silly in the moment and being in front of the camera and just started giggling. You know, you just get the giggles. But sometimes snapping that off, you see that the guard is down. It's real, it's authentic, it's true energy, and sometimes that's the best photo.
It's interesting because I think what you've just said there is probably one of the biggest obstacles that people face when they even consider building a personal brand is, but I'm not comfortable being out there with my face, with me. So that plays a big part, I think, in making them feel comfortable and want to tell their story. You get this all the time, don't you, Kaz? It's that they want to do it, but they don't really want to be seen.
Yeah.
So breaking down those barriers and making them feel comfortable, and like you say, it's that passion, isn't it? Everyone has a passion for things, certain things. So if you can bring that out, I think that helps a lot.
I also think what we did that time when we got a photographer in to take the candid shots around the office, yeah, everyone felt a little bit awkward because there was someone with a camera in and it was like, oh my God, what do I do? But actually we were having a laugh with it. We were having fun with it. We've got a great library of photos that we can all then use as a team going forward for whatever, for the website, yes, for ads, for all of that side of digital marketing, but also I'm using it in my personal brand all the time. So for LinkedIn, I want an image, I'm talking about something, this ties in with that, lovely. So maybe for businesses to kind of think about booking a real life just shoot in the office, real time, real life, snap away, get as many photos as you can, and then share that with your team, and then you've got stockpile.
Yeah, yeah. Because the other thing I'd add as well is in terms of making people feel comfortable. So that scenario you've described there is great because you're kind of all in it together. It becomes a team bonding exercise, and you have some laughs, and it's not all on the individual. When you then have your individual photos, your headshot, or whatever, you feel that additional pressure because it's just you and the lens and a guy you've never met before behind the camera operating it. Trying to remind people that these photos, if you're using them in a professional capacity, they're not photos for you. Like, they're not going home and going on the mantelpiece. Like, these have a purpose to your audience.
Yeah.
So actually, it's not about how flattering you look or how aesthetically pleasing it is. It's about what is the message in it. Is that authentic? That level of personality that's coming over? Are you someone we want to work with? You know, that's more important.
A good point. I'm really surprised within all of this that Matt hadn't started talking to you about cameras.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Matt won't say this himself, but he's actually a really good street photographer.
Nice, nice.
I think, well, not just street photography, just photography in general. You are a bit of a photography buff, aren't you?
I am a photography nerd. Yeah, yeah.
I call Matt a tackle tart. So he likes his tackle. I am going to. He likes his kit, his gear.
Right,
he's very geeky. He's actually got a cupboard in his office at home with loads of different cameras.
Oh, nice. Well, like film stuff as well, or
No film stuff.
digital?
No, just mostly new stuff. Actually, quite obsessive about just collecting cameras.
wow, love it.
Yeah, I've got all sorts in there. You might like it.
Yeah.
There's some Leicas, there's a Hasselblad, there's a few different
Very nice.
Sonys, a Ricoh. Don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Ricos.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've got all sorts in there. Yeah,
Just talking about tackle now.
Another
Okay.
language.
Yeah.
that's your fault. You you started that.
I did bring it up, but I mean, so from a marketing lab's perspective, when I've tried to get my ideas out for what I want to come across on the website, for example, and staging those sessions has been quite tough with the team because I'm like, oh, let's get a shot of Jenny and Kyle and Ben now sat over here in this situation. And I think, I don't know whether it's me been the problem, but I find it hard to sort of go, can you do this? And then they don't freeze, but I feel like having someone else there. We've used Eve, who's a brilliant wedding photographer, and she's good at getting moments. She's not specifically specialised in professional headshots, as it were.
Yeah.
But she's good at getting those moments where people might be caught off guard.
Yeah.
And I just find it really hard to get that. I know the shot that I want.
Yeah.
And sometimes getting the team to output what I want is hard without making them just say, oh, just talk about this, or just look at this penis colouring book. Do you know what I mean? Like, just to take the emphasis off it a little bit.
We did actually do that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I've got a few photos with a big coloured in dick in my hand that I can't really use for much, but even that's gone on LinkedIn because it's funny.
Yeah, that's it. No, I think in the first instance, it's probably good acknowledging that those reference photos you find is recognizing that they probably weren't choreographed as such. They were a moment in time, and now you're aspiring to capture that moment in time, and so suddenly the pressure on what you're trying to achieve is also like massive. It's trying to, again, come back to what is it you're trying to say by getting these people together in this certain scenario, and then think what really happens on a day-to-day basis in the office. Where do people go and chill and socialise? Is it worth just creeping up on them at lunchtime when they're doing it, and catching them off guard and seeing what comes out of it,
Yeah. Most of that's in the kitchen, to be fair, but the kitchen's not very picturesque environment. There's just pots and stuff everywhere.
Till Kaz gets to it.
Yeah.
You usually clear him, don't you, Kaz?
You love a clean up in the kitchen, don't you?
You lot wash up pots. Why?
I don't know. There's no excuse for
There's
it,
no
is there,
excuse.
really?
There isn't. I had a word with the cleaners this morning. She was like, you can tell we haven't been last Friday. I was like, yes, you can. And I've purposely not been doing it this week, but I will jump in
choice.
later. Right, let's get back on topic.
Let's get back on.
So, Tom.
Oh, question for
I
me.
know, question for you.
Oh, rogue.
I know, rogue, eh? I'm turning it. I'm going to take over this, yeah. So, from a creative and messaging perspective, what separates visible brands from invisible ones?
I think the biggest one for me is consistency. So obviously every business will have a visual identity that they'll want to get out there. But when we're taking that from a personal branding approach, I feel like we've got to try and get that out there somewhere, but not in your face. So keeping it simple but clean is always my approach. Like I would class myself as a very clean, minimalist, design focused person. So if you can get that across in your personal brand, I'd say that's quite important. I'm not really one for bland content. So the content that a business would want to put on there, like a static image of like a generic message, we do SEO. Like I think it's better to do it in an approach, what you gave an example of, where you did the post of, oh, here's Tilly and Jenny and Matt, the people behind the SEO team here at Marketing Labs, and a photo of them having a chat. Like that comes across better to me from this perspective when we're talking about visual and authentic people behind a business, rather than, oh, we do SEO, we increased. It's good to have case study stuff, I think, but mix it up a bit and get that storytelling across, rather than you're selling a service or a product. We've got these people behind the business that do the work, and they're real and they're authentic and they can stretch like a mofo, like Tilly. Like that comes across better.
Yeah.
Like how you put that across in that post was amazing. And Jenny, what did you say?
Caesar salad.
Makes a great Caesar salad, but she can find something,
You
an
can
issue
find
with your
out how
website.
shit your website is
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
And also creates a really great
that
Caesar
was
salad.
that was brilliant how you did that. So I think just have a clear approach as a business, but keep it consistent, simple, and tell the people behind the story rather than you.
It's got to feel unforced, hasn't it? I think the key to all of that is being organic and not being forced, because you can see that from a mile away. Like it's so obvious when it's forced, and it's almost a bit too clinical, and I don't know, it doesn't have a personality. But also, just coming back to one of the things you said there, Tom, about case studies, with our personal brands, like we probably don't shout enough about our successes. However, I think the reason we don't do that, Kaz is changing that actually. You've been doing this much more than certainly me and Tom have historically. But I think the reason we don't do that is probably because it's almost like a reaction to most people getting how they work on their personal brands wrong, and they shout too much about that kind of stuff. It's like constant, like all they'll post is here's a case study, here's a case study. We did this, we did this, we did this. And okay, it's useful, and people might want to check that out. And there are always lurkers, the people who stay quiet, who you might not have a conversation with, and you don't even get any engagement from, who will look at that and see the quality of work and might like it. But in actual fact, in my opinion at least, and a lot of this is just going to be opinion based, but in my opinion, I think that has a place, but is far down the pecking order, way below things like just showing your personality, showing your expertise, offering value. That's the biggest one. Like people are there because they want to, they need outcomes and they need help and they need support and they need ideas. And that's the kind of content, in my opinion, that will gain you an audience and a long-term benefit from doing this. So I think, in my opinion, that's probably one of the biggest mistakes I see, is people just constantly throwing on, look what we did, look what we did, look what we did. There is a place, but in my opinion, maybe one post out of 10, something like that.
I think Tom said about consistency of visuals, but it's that consistency of posting as well, isn't it? If
Yeah.
you do show up once and then you don't show up again, you're just going to be sharing the case studies, the things that you think are impressive to other people. If you show up consistently, 3 posts a week, every single week of the year, schedule them if you need to schedule them. But if you show up consistently like that, you can mix it in. So you can have those real life moments, you can have the humans behind it, you can show other people in, you can then mix in a case study when you've done something impressive and you do want to shout about it. And then you can mix in some value and some other stuff as well. So if you're consistently posting 3 posts a week over 52 weeks of the year, that's enough to drop in, enough for people to notice and go, okay, they can back up this value with also what they can achieve as well. So I think it's that, isn't it?
Yeah, and that, you said something earlier, Kaz, which is so true about people feeling like they're being sold to. I think doing that kind of process removes yourself from that risk, to the degree where actually I think they just want to see your friendly face. They want to know what you're up to, but they won't if all you share is that you did this every day. Like it's much more boring.
Well, I've got you, Matt. How do you think paid ads, that could be PPC or Meta, support visibility alongside personal branding?
Well, they go hand in hand, don't they? I think the most obvious thing is ads are great for scale. They're great for building a bigger audience. They're great for getting more eyeballs on your personal brand, on your content. But your consistent posting, coming back to what Kaz was saying, that's what'll keep them there. So if you've got adverts that are gaining you awareness, but you have no substance behind it, no value, no content, it's just not going to work very well. But also organically, it can be a struggle sometimes to get that reach. So I think they go hand in hand really well, to be honest. Although you have to be quite clever about who your audience is and what kind of ads you want to run. But it's great for scale. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point with ads, especially LinkedIn. LinkedIn ads are tough for businesses, I think. So I think if you can do that via personal brands more, I know you've been keen on trying to champion not just me, Matt, and yourself pushing Marketing Labs more, but other members of the team as well. And
Shh, don't tell them.
Oh, sorry.
They're listening.
Yeah, they'll get scared and run away. But I think that's a good approach in doing that organically.
I think as well, just to add to that, there are 2 quite different goals as well here. We've got audience capture and intent capture, and they're quite different things. So on the audience capture side, what you're doing is you're building that audience, you're building your personal brand. The intent capture is then how that then adds value commercially, and finding the right people that are seeing your content. And as Toby said earlier, how your content aligns with their challenges and how you can help support them. So they're 2 slightly different things. And I think just coming back to your question about ads, that can probably help with that quite a lot, because you can be specific about who you're targeting then.
That's a good point. Question for Kaz and Toby. What do you think stops people from building their personal brand?
I think people use the excuse they haven't got time, and that's what they think is stopping them. But I actually think it's a fear and confusion kind of mix. So if people are out there and they're thinking, I haven't got time to personally brand, first of all, go into your phone, open your settings out for how much time you scroll Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn and everything without contributing to the platforms. Then you'll suddenly find that, oh, I do have time.
Yeah.
So switch some of that scroll time to creating time. But then it's the looking at what else is stopping them. So, you know, fear, like what are people going to think of me? What, you know, will I look like a plonker? Will I look cringy? I've got this expertise, but, you know, have I got this expertise? Am I good enough? Am I not? So all of this kind of fear-based stuff. Would you say that as well?
Yeah, I think exactly the same, but probably in a different slightly interpretation. It's confidence and lack of self-confidence, but or sadly lack of self-worth as well. In terms of that fear of putting yourself out there, I think comes from a place of I don't think I can, or I don't think I should, or why do people want to see me or more of me? Which again, when we come back to framing the purpose of getting visual content and being more visible out there is to reach people for your business. It's not about you. It's not about how you look or how you come across personally. It's about how you come across for your business, isn't it? But yeah, I'd say that's probably something that stops people getting involved.
It's a good point. You made a really good point this morning, actually. What did you say now? I can't remember. People don't care about you more than you.
No one cares about you.
Yeah.
No one cares about you.
Yeah.
You are the only one that cares about you.
Yeah,
You're the only one that watches your videos back and goes, oh, I hate the sound of my own voice. We all do.
Yeah.
I had so many friends. I'll take a photo of them and they pick up their phone, they scroll right in to the one area they know they've got cellulite or a spot or whatever. And I'm like, nobody else opens your social media, scrolls into your one cellulite area and goes, oh my gosh, she's disgusting. Why is she online? Like nobody. So it's like, you are your biggest critic.
Yeah, exactly the same here with when I start a session in the studio and a client's turned up and they'll tell me every little flaw that they see in themselves on a day-to-day basis, like, oh, by the way, I've got this wonky eye, and also, you know, I've got one nostril bigger than the other, and all these kind of things. And I'm like, they're hoping I can do something about it, and it's like that. I'm not one iota concerned about that, and neither are the people who are going to be looking at these photos. Like, you know, you see these things in yourself, and my friend who's a photographer had a great analogy that. Can you picture the FedEx logo?
Yeah.
So there's a shape in you guys probably know as designers, there's a shape in the FedEx logo. Do you know what that is? Can you picture it in your head?
Is it a little arrow or something?
Yeah. So between is it the D and the E and the X? I can't remember now. When you look at it, it'll jump out at you. There's an arrow shape. And the analogy is that, you know, now you see that every time you see a FedEx van, you'll see the arrow straight away. But if you didn't know it was there, you know, you would miss it. And it's the same thing. Any kind of flaws we see in ourselves in photos that then lead us to be not very confident in front of the camera, or just anything in terms of putting ourselves out there. You know, if we're slightly mindful about the way we speak, or, you know, somebody's picked up on a slight accent you have or something like that, suddenly that's all we can focus on. So we kind of focus on our own arrow. So it's learning to go, you know what, no one else sees that in you. No one else is looking out for that or looking to trip you up.
It's so true. And you know what? We've said this in previous podcasts as well about other subjects. So, okay, we're talking about personal branding now, but when we talk about SEO, for example, I know at least twice this has come up. People search something in Google. If your content is good, if your page is good, if your SEO is good, you'll be visible. They click on your website. They don't really care who you are.
No.
What they care is they search for something, they found it. Can they trust you? If something goes wrong, do they feel like you've got their back? Is the price okay? Can they see value in it? And does it solve their problem?
Yeah.
Once you've done all of that, they don't really care who you are.
No.
And it's a very similar thing here. It's just about adding value. It's about building that story. You can worry about these things way too much, can't you? So much so, actually. Sorry, Toby. So much so as well that I think some businesses and people, because we're talking about personal branding here, they allow it to shape what they do and how they do things. And it ultimately just becomes the tail wagging the dog. Instead of aligning themselves with an audience that are ready to be customers that you can build a commercial relationship with, it almost, they align what they want to do with their audience too much sometimes, and with themselves too much sometimes. And I think it limits them.
Mm.
Yeah.
We hold ourselves back as humans
Yeah.
so much in so many different ways. And it's not really a surprise when you think about personal branding. And then it's like personal, it's me. Oh my God, I've got to put myself out there. Oh, but I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not like, who am I to do any of that? Like, we've got to get over it. But the only way to get over it is to start doing it.
Yeah.
Like you say about my confidence on camera and one take Kaz. She wasn't one take Kaz like 8 years ago.
No.
And she wasn't confident on camera. And I spot things in myself that I'm like, oh, I just don't look again. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, so it's just, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My audience doesn't care about it. Let's just do it, put it out there, because I know it's going to get me further along than if I don't.
Yeah. And in terms of building your confidence, sharing how you can help people in a community or group, whatever your situation is. So say we're here now and we're networking and I'm slightly nervous coming to the party. As soon as I share, I'm Toby, I'm a photographer, and how I can help you, I've now contributed my purpose for being here. And once you've kind of got that out there, it suddenly gives you so much more comfort in being here. So it's the same as showing up online. Like, it's not so much about getting your photo out there. It's getting your photo out there. It's accompanying the reason as to why you're there to solve people's problems and how you can do that. Going back to when you mentioned about people only posting case studies, it's kind of a cop-out to actually sharing yourself. But if you can share behind the scenes of that case study to show the problem you were solving for that client, that's actually so much more powerful.
Yeah.
And you then exist in the ether with value rather than just feeling like you're just turning up and spamming the socials.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And Kaz, I use that excuse quite a lot as well, you know. I always say I'm too busy. And I am. Like, I really do find it difficult to find time. Like, it is a genuine reason. But at the same time, there are certain ways you can prioritize things to find the time. And we're trying to do that anyway, aren't we, at the moment, with various different things. But I think it is a valid reason. But actually, I also think it's super important too. Like, you've got to just try and find the time somehow. And I suspect if you were to look at the average person that we speak to, I think they're all busy. Everybody's busy. But I reckon there are things they do that probably should be a much lower priority. And this really could make quite a big difference to their business.
Yeah, and it's just looking at them switching some of that lower priority, isn't it?
Yeah.
Switching it into something that might actually lead to something down the line that people will actually see.
Exactly. Or get support from elsewhere to fill in some of those the things that they have to do that are slightly less important than this. Because I think once somebody's decided this is important for them and their business, clearly there's an opportunity. Otherwise, they wouldn't think that. And there is a big opportunity, but it's then about being consistent and capitalizing. And if you have that excuse of time, like I do, you always fall back on it. And even 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was being quite consistent again, and now I haven't. So you really do have to just stay on top of that, don't you?
And get some tools that help as well. So, like, I'm a big fan of scheduling, because I know that if I was just posting as I was going, it wouldn't happen, because it does get to 10, who am I kidding, 8 p.m. at night. And I'm like, I'm off to bed. And I wouldn't have done it. But if I've scheduled it, then I can get a bit ahead. And then when it's lowering again, I'm like, right, okay, schedule again. And I'm not constantly having to think, oh, I need to post today. I need to do, what am I sharing? What am I doing? Just whack that out.
Yeah.
One thing that I get amazed at, and I think people get hung up when they're thinking about doing their personal brand, is actually people engaging with it. There's a big difference between that and having the consistency of continuously posting and things. But even though people don't engage, they're still seeing you, because the amount of times that I've had conversations with some clients or just people that I might know in the industry or whatever, they go, oh, I like what you did with your post 2 months ago about X and Y. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you saw that. But it's amazing how many people actually do that. And
It's a silent majority, I think. Most people don't engage.
Mm.
They don't. And we've had clients that have said that they've seen our content,
Yeah.
but that we've never heard of them.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
we've never seen them engage.
Mm.
So that's quite interesting.
Have there been a recent change also in the algorithm in LinkedIn?
Yeah, last year, yeah, quite a big change as well. So historically, you know, they would use things like dwell time on posts. They would use things like early engagement, things like that, which they do still use. But LinkedIn are now using Llama, which is Meta's AI, to actually understand who's engaging with your content, who they are, what the kind of things they like, how that aligns to your content, and how that aligns to you. So there's AI layers now that actually understand the content instead of just picking out keywords. So I would say now is the most important time to remove that headline which says CEO of Marketing Labs, co-founder of Quirk, which is what mine was. And that needs to move to something like helping businesses improve their search visibility in Google, something like that. Because the AI then allows that layering to understand who you are, but also your content has to align to your profile and your audience. And this is where visibility will dip if it doesn't align. So we've all seen it. We'll post something that we think is interesting, it's relevant, it adds value, and it could add a lot of value. But if it doesn't align to your profile and your audience, it won't perform anymore. So I think that's a big change that people need to make, and they need to try and get the people who relate to your content engaging with it. Otherwise, it'll struggle. Also, the other thing that's quite interesting, by the way, which impacts my profile quite a lot, is all of these changes that they've made algorithmically actually benefit new profiles more than they benefit older profiles. So if you're now starting out and building an audience, that audience engagement that you build now is stronger than historic engagement. So I've got something like 25,000 followers. The problem is a lot of those were engaging with me and my content 10 years ago, longer, 14, 15 years ago. And they're not actually passing signals at the moment. So actually that looks like my content isn't being engaged with as much as it should. So it's quite difficult for me and people who have that historic following than it would be for somebody who's just starting building it now. So that's a reason, if any, to start now.
Interesting.
Nice, that is
Another
interesting.
thing on that point as well is the responding to engagements, isn't it? So
Yes.
where possible, if you can reply back to comments on your posts and everything like that, that's going to push it
Yeah.
again
Quickly as well.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a big difference. Yep. Also, by the way, what you engage with, that's also quite important here. So if let's just say, Tom, your big thing is around design and branding.
Mm.
If you're going away and liking posts about cricket, politics, finance, economy, things like that, that isn't going to bode well for your content, because the AI is seeing that actually you're getting sporadic topicality, if you like. So it needs to be really quite focused.
I definitely wouldn't engage with anything to do with politics. That's for sure.
Pokemon then.
Pokemon. Oh yeah, Pokemon. Yeah, I'm on it. Right. I think there's been some good stuff talked about here, but I want to finish off with a quick fire question for everybody. If someone listening wants to increase their visibility starting tomorrow, what's one practical action that they could take? Kaz. Ooh.
Ooh, I would say to just start posting. Pick a platform that you like, your ideal audience is on, and just start getting yourself out there. Practice, gain confidence in however you want to do that. If video is your thing, go for video. If post and text only is your thing, go for that. If you've got images already, great, go for that. Just start building that muscle. And show yourself that nothing bad happens when you do that either.
Good one. What would you think, Toby?
I'd say take photos and videos of everything you do,
Mm.
everywhere you go, every meeting you go to, every client you go visit. Just bank it.
Yeah.
And then, exactly as Kaz says, when you come to do those posts in future, you've got stuff to refer back to.
Nice.
I call that paparazzi your life.
Right,
Nice.
yeah,
Create
that's
stock
good, to be fair.
images, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I would say maybe use an app like Raindrop, which is like a social bookmarking app, website bookmarks as well. And anything you come across anywhere, whether it be on a social network, it could be a blog, it could be a YouTube video, save it if you find it interesting and there's something useful in there, and you can use that for creativity when you're struggling with post ideas.
Nice. Mine would be scheduling. That helped me massively, and you've mentioned it already before, Kaz, is just use a tool that you can schedule. Like, and I found this when I was in the flow of it. I was just like, oh, I can post that now, and then I can post this now, and then and once it's done, it's like, oh, I've done a whole month's worth of content now.
Yeah.
I can relax a bit, rather than putting that pressure on yourself to go, oh, what am I going to post today and tomorrow, and you just get yourself in a bit of a flat then, don't you? So that would be my biggest one.
And you can do that through the individual platforms, can't you? Or
Yeah.
there's like tools like, I like Buffer. I always tell people Buffer because there's a free version that enables you to be on a few platforms and schedule, I think, 10 posts at a time or something. You can create more, you just can't schedule them. So you can create them, get ahead, and then once you've gone through that, you can schedule more for the next week and next week and next week.
I would say those limitations are actually a benefit in some ways, by the way, because like you say, you can only connect on the free account. You can only connect a couple of different social profiles. Actually, I would argue that if you're trying to build a personal brand, you should really only focus on a couple of channels anyway, where your audience is.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're on a paid version and you can connect 7, 8 different social profiles from different platforms, I think that limits your performance, and you're not focusing on the right audience on the right channels. So in some ways, I think that helps.
Yeah. And also with your posts, you can't go too far ahead. So that's great, because what if something changes or something? So, you're always keeping a tab on that as well.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm happy to wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and you, Toby, for taking your time.
Thanks very much for having me.
How was your first Marketing Blabs pod experience?
First. That means there might be another.
Well, maybe it depends. How
it must have
good
gone
this-
well then.
I think it went well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed having you. To
No,
be fair.
I've enjoyed it. It's been really good conversations, and to hear your insights, it's been good.
Nice. What are you up to after this?
Editing this afternoon.
Oh, editing.
Back home, and then the gym.
Nice. Well, enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaz, as always, for
One take.
one take, Kaz, and as always, Matt. Just a little nod.
No worries, Tom.
So visibility isn't about being everywhere, it's about being strategically present in the right places. Personal branding builds trust, creative messaging builds engagement, and strong visuals build credibility, and paid media builds scale. When those things work together, visibility turns into opportunity. That's it for today's episode. I hope today's conversation has helped you think differently about your personal brand, your creative strategy, and digital marketing altogether. A big thank you to Matt, Kaz, and Toby for sharing their insights. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your network. And if you're serious about increasing your visibility online, head to our website or reach out to someone within the team, and we'll be happy to help. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.